and welcome back to Dusty Book Sniffers. My name's Nicole, and today we are starting a new series of Read Around the World. Hello everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. I do appreciate you taking time out of your day to watch me and listen to me prattle on about books. If you are new here, please hit that subscribe button and a little bell icon beside it, and then that way you won't miss out on any future posts. And while you're there, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up as well. If you're a returning subscriber, hey, welcome back. It's me again. Alrighty, so let's get stuck into this today. Now, let me just explain what a Read Around the World is. So basically, I was watching a heap of sort of new YouTubers, booktubers, and they were all mentioning this Read Around the World, and I thought that is a fantastic challenge to do. So I decided that I was going to do it. And so basically what that means is I'd done a Google search and I came up with a list, and I will leave a link down below where you can find that list. And basically it has got all the countries from around the world, and I believe there's 197 on the list. So it is a pretty lengthy challenge indeed. So I'm going to be trying to do it in alphabetical order. That might be a little bit hard sometimes because I might come across a great book and it's from a different country. And the prerequisite is for it either needs to be translated into English or by an author from that country. They're my prerequisites. Other people are doing set in that country and all that sort of stuff. So that's what I'm sort of looking at. If I can't find an author or a book that's been translated into English, because I don't read any other languages, then I will probably go with a book that is set in that country. So basically what I'm going to be doing over the however many weeks it takes me to do this, which is going to be a lengthy one, so it is a series, I will basically pick a couple of books, do a little bit of research. I will talk about the books that I have read, and then I will also put the other ones that I have found, and I'll leave a link down below where you can find all that information. So I'm really looking forward to actually doing this challenge. Some of the books that I've already got on my bookshelf are going to fit that challenge. Some of them I will not be able to find. Most of them I'm going to be getting on Kindle. And anything that I really love, I will purchase and have a physical copy. The reason that I will purchase it and have a physical copy is because all my books eventually will end up on my daughter's bookshelf. So I've already said to her, come out, because she's leaving home at the end of the year, and I've got shelves that I've already got books that I've already read and whatnot. And I said, look, just go and put a sticker on it. Check with me that I actually have read it. And then that way, if you want to take it at the end of the year, you can take it. And that way it clears up my bookshelf for me to buy some more books. I mean, that's just fabulous. All right, so the first country that I read from, and this was actually a bingo challenge over prompt over in my Facebook group. And I'll leave a link down below where you can find that as well. It is my crafting group, but it actually has a little bit of a reading nook in it, and I'm contemplating changing the name to include reading in the title so people know that that's what that's about as well. But predominantly it's a craft, and I've got a little bit of a reading nook over there. And so we have a 12-week bingo challenge that we do 4 times a year. And I started doing this at the end of last year, and this year I put the second one that we've already done the first one. I put read a book from Afghanistan. So I ended up doing a bit of research, and I ended up finding, and a lot of people have already read this book. I found, like, as I've been talking about it with people and whatnot, as people have said they've either read both of them or they've read one or the other. And this author is actually from Afghanistan, but he lives in the USA, and his name is Khalid Hosseini, I think is how you pronounce his name, and he has written The Kite Runner and 1,000 Splendid Suns, and The Mountain Echo, I think, is the other one that I'm aware of. And so basically I could not decide, and it was the bingo prompt, and it just happened to roll up first, which was great, which meant that I could hit the road running now and not have to wait for a couple of weeks to get to it. And so I went looking for books from Afghanistan, and I come across quite a number of them through other people and just through doing a search. And then the people that are joining in with the bingo also found a heap for me to read as well. So I chose to read 1,000 Splendid Suns, and I also chose to read, because I couldn't decide between the two, and the Kite Runner. So I read 2 this week of his, and I do have the third book that I mentioned, the Mountain Echoes or something it's called. I can't remember off the top of my head. I have got that in my wish list to read that. I probably won't read it this week, but I want to get to that as soon as possible. All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about 1,000 Splendid Suns. As you can see, that's the cover. This was a Kindle book. I didn't have this here. I definitely going to buy these 2 books for my daughter, because I think that she will get a lot out of them. She does recommendations for me, and I just buy the books and put them on her bookshelf, and she'll get to them eventually. So basically I really enjoyed the 1,000 Splendid Suns. A lot of people had warned me that it was quite confronting and that sort of stuff. And while I did find it confronting, I just found the story and the things that happened in it very moving, and it wasn't shock value, because I actually have family from the Middle East, and so arranged marriages is quite common. I mean, my grandmother and my grandfather on my dad's side, he's from Malta, she was from Egypt, and she was married off at quite a young age to him, and he was a lot older. I think there was 15 years difference between them. So that sort of thing wasn't a really shock to me, and I think in this day and age we all know that these things happen in a lot of these countries, and so it wasn't a shock to me that happened. The violence behind it also, again, not a shock to me, because we've heard so much about it. While it was harrowing and quite confronting and all that sort of stuff. And the whole story behind it was just absolute. I just really enjoyed it. There's a little bit of historical stuff thrown in there as well. It is starting from in the 70s up to the somewhat present day of when this book was written, and ultimately it was following the story of Miriam and Layla. They were the 2 main female characters, and it was from a female perspective of being married off and then having the second wife come in, the illegitimacy of one of the main characters. Her whole life had revolved around her up until she ended up being married off, of waiting for her father to come and visit her every week, and she was very close to him and all that sort of stuff, but she didn't know all of her other brothers and sisters, because she was, for lack of a better word, a bastard child, illegitimate. And so that, and her mother calling her that, and all this sort of stuff that was happening in the book. So it wasn't, I love the book, and I love the premise behind it and all the rest of it. I gave it a 4-star rating because it really did draw me in, and I really did enjoy reading the book. And enjoy is probably the wrong word to use, but really it's the only word to use, because I really did enjoy reading the book. I loved how it ended as well. I loved that the sacrifice that was made, and also it also touched on when a new wife comes into the house and how the other one felt and all that sort of stuff. And there was a bit of detail. There was one thing that I read in it that happened, without giving anything away. I just went, whoa. Like, I can't even imagine myself being in a situation like that. And the Afghani people have lived like this for a very long time, like in our recent history, for decades. And prior to all this happening, I think they only had like 2 or 3 decades where someone wasn't squabbling over everything like that. I mean, I don't know my Afghani history prior to, the Soviet Union being in there. So in my lifetime, and, then we've had the Taliban come in and the changes. So it touched on all of that in this book as well. And, there's a love story in there. There's it had a little bit of everything, and it's just a fabulous book. And I'm probably not doing justice to this book, but if you haven't read it, pick it up, have a read of it. It is a great book to read. He'd done a fabulous job of inserting the history in there, and some of the things you'll go, oh, I remember that. And there was one thing in that book where something was destroyed, and I actually had forgotten about that, because so much has happened in my lifetime in that country that there was a big event after that you know, pretty much probably stopped a lot of people from remembering this little tidbit. And yeah, and so basically I went, oh my God, I remember that, you know, because it's in my recent history and stuff like that. So, and it also, I got a sense from the book, and from both books actually, I got a sense that during the 60s and the early 70s and somewhat even in the 50s, Kabul was a beautiful place, because that's where it's set, in Kabul. And so I just got a sense that, like, he was interjecting in there that, you know, it once was such a beautiful country, and the people are absolutely amazing, you know, like, and we should, and I got a feeling, and whether I'm reading more into it or not, I just get a feeling that, you know, it's a great lesson to learn that we shouldn't judge a country, and we shouldn't, you know, think that everybody's the same as the bad guys and all the rest of it. And so that's a sense that I sort of got. A lot of people had said to me that, you know, it was quite confronting, especially the arranged marriage. Like, the violence in it is confronting for a lot of people, and I get that, and it is confronting for me as well, especially anything to do with violence against women and stuff like that. Very confronting for me. Some of the other stuff, so like the arranged marriage and yeah, and I'm not dismissing it, I'm not saying it's right or anything like that, but having that in my family, and why they do it, and the reasons behind it and stuff like that, that's in my recent history as well, because my grandparents, you know, was an arranged marriage, and she was only 15, 16 when she married, and he was 30, 31. I don't know the exact ages. No one's ever, like, they've alluded to that, because there's a 15 years age gap, and it's, you know, it doesn't take much to work out, you know, when they're their age now, that what age they were when they got married. And yeah, so it was quite interesting to read it, and like, I've read books about that sort of stuff before, but this, I don't know, it just really drew me in. You know, I found that my heart was racing at times as well, and yeah, and just there was the love story and the sacrifice and all that sort of stuff in there, the underlying things, very underlying things there. I just found it to be a great book. So I've given that 4 stars out of 5, because I felt like I was drawn into the story really well. And just the tragedy of it all, you know, like, it's just, the Taliban's got a lot to answer for, you know what I mean? Like, and even the Russians as well, with what they, you know, they were doing as well. So it was published, I'm just looking at my notes here, it's got 372 pages, and it was published in 2007. It came out in the May of 2007. So a lot of people probably have already read this book anyway, but this is the first time I've read anything from this author, and I really enjoy his writing, his style of writing, and how immersive he is. Absolutely adore it. Now, all of those things that I've just said about 1,000 Splendid Suns, I'm going to say again about the Kite Runner, except this time it was from a male perspective. So that one was purely from a female perspective and what they've endured, and this is the Kite Runner is from a male perspective. And so again, I felt like, you know, that Kabul was a very, I'm probably saying that wrong, Kabul? Yeah, no, I think that's how you say it, was a very lovely place, and there was a lot of, you know, joyous occasions and events that happened and all that sort of stuff. But again, this one had, again, their whole underlying secrecy and doing things to hide things from society, and how, you know, the lottery of being born a male is so different than you know, a female, and the secrets that are kept from children and stuff like that. And then there's the horrific side of it again, about the war and the Taliban and escaping and just trying to survive. So again, I really, really enjoyed it. It's following, the story is set and starts in 1975, and so this is pre-Russian invasion, because I think the Russians invaded Afghanistan in 1979 or 78, if memory serves me correctly. I'm pretty sure it's around the early 80s maybe. So yeah, so basically it's set there. It's following the story of Amir and Hassan, and they are friendship they've got a lovely friendship. They live in the same house. Hassan is a servant to Amir, and Hassan's father is really good friends with Baba, which is Amir's father, and there are secrets kept, and there were things that were done, and it follows the story. There was you know, Amir always trying to prove himself to his father and feeling like he wasn't living up to his expectations and all that sort of stuff. And so subsequently it follows their story. There is an event that happens involving the kites, and Hassan and Amir win that, and then there's an event that happens that changes their friendship, and essentially they go their separate ways. Baba and Amir go off they escape and they go to America, and then it follows them along there, and then it brings him back. So it is a very much of a journey that you're going along, and the way it ended was absolutely wonderful. There was a lot of sad things in this book that made me feel really sad, as well as the other one as well. But again, he interjected the history of his country and recent history, so in my lifetime history, and so it was just a great read. Like, I really, and again, I'm using the word enjoyment, but it had sorrow, it had, you know, friendship, it had sacrifice, it had lies and secrets and shock value and all that sort of stuff. And I absolutely adored both of these books, and they both got a 4-star rating from me, and I'm really, really happy with them. And yeah, so that is 2 books that I have read from Afghanistan, and I managed to, through the bingo challenge, we ended up getting a whole heap of other books that came up, and I'm just going to have them scrolling on the screen while I wrap this video up. And these are some of the ones that I've added to my TBR. So my TBR has grown from this challenge already. The next country that we're going to be visiting is Albania. So I'm on the hunt for 7 books from Albania. If you've got any recommendations for Albanian books, please, by authors or even translated from the language into English, please leave them down below, and I can go and check them out, and then I will select 1 or 2 books to read from that country. I'm trying to read at least one. Sometimes I can't choose because the synopsis has given me just a great tidbit that I want to dive into the books. So leave me anything down below that you can recommend for Albania. And yeah, so that is Afghanistan done. As I said, moving on to Albania next. If you've made it this far, don't forget to leave me an emoji, a book emoji down below, and that way I know you have made it that far. And yeah, if you like this video today, give me a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so yet, and the little bell icon beside it, and then that way you won't miss out on any future posts. All right, have a great day, everybody, and I'll see you all again next time. Bye for now.